me see if anyone has any questions and then start the new lesson, inshallah. I see some questions in the chat. Sometimes they're written to me privately, and sometimes not, but either way, when did you finish memorizing the Qur'an? If that question is addressed to me, I started memorizing the Qur'an when I was 15 and finished when I was about 16 and a half. But that's like the first memorization. And if any of you are Hafaz Quran, you know that memorizing the Quran is a life process. There's no point where you say, okay, I have memorized the Quran and khalas, I don't need to do anything else. No, it's a life process. So there's a first khatma and then a second khatma. And then once it's kind of flows in your blood, then, you know, when you read your juz' every day or your 3 juz' every day, it's just maintain them. So my first khatma was when I was a kid. Then I later had another khatma a few years later where I had to kind of rememorize a lot of surahs. And then it became less and less. So the re-memorizing became less, and it was more like just reviewing and make sure I don't forget. Hadith Qudsi. Okay, since I don't plan to talk about it in this course, I can mention the Hadith Qudsi, but let me open the slides so you have something to look at while I talk about Hadith Qudsi. Thank you so much, dear Khadija. Okay, let's see. What would be a good place to talk about Hadith Qudsi? It's the type of revelation. So I'm going to go back a few slides to the types of revelation here, maybe. Slideshow from current slide. Okay, I hope that you can see the slides. I don't know why, but the chat box, for some reason, it's hidden behind the slideshow, and I didn't know how to make it come forth. That's going to be a problem. Give me a technical second. Move, no. I don't know why it's being sent like behind. This usually doesn't happen, but it's being sent behind the actual slideshow, and I cannot see the chat box at all. Please forgive. It appeared now. I don't know why. Okay, alhamdulillah, something happened and it appeared. My computer might be delayed. Okay, so let me bring forward. Oh, the chat box disappeared again. Maybe if someone writes, that's when it appears. Okay, so what was I doing? The question was, what is a Hadith Qudsi? So real quickly, since it's kind of off track from what where I want to take you. Let's go to what's the difference between Qur'an and Hadith. Okay, Hadith is the Hadith if we're talking about the Hadith that is the words of the Prophet ﷺ, because Hadith also can be divided to what the Prophet ﷺ says and the companions describing what he did. And the third type is the companions describe a situation happening where the Prophet ﷺ would do nothing. So those are 3 types that in general are counted as hadith. So I want to talk about the hadith, the first type, the one where he would, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he would say something. For example, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. This is one of the most famous hadith. It's usually in the opening of most books of hadith and any other book. It's mutawatir, by the way. Okay, so إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. That's the wording is his wording, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Where does he get the meaning of these hadith? The meanings that he is now verbalizing is either from him and his understanding of the Qur'an, of Jibreel speaking to him, of his situation, or ijtihad on a personal level. Like he might, one of his sayings is he was giving advice to the farmers in Medina, how to, raise their palm trees. So what he says comes from many sources. When he speaks on a religious matter related to Islam and conveying the message, like a ruling or something to do with our aqidah, our belief, then no doubt that the meaning came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by different methods. It could be through dreams, it could be through direct wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in methods we cannot comprehend, or through Jibreel. And through Jibreel might be through many methods. Some of them might be a human form, some of them might be other methods. Okay, I don't want to get into that because it's not really what we're talking about. But that's the hadith. Okay, now there's a certain type of hadith that's verbal, where the Prophet ﷺ specifically says at the beginning of the hadith, قال الله تعالى, Allah said, or Allah has inspired me to say, or the companion is saying, the Prophet ﷺ narrated to us from Allah, فيما يرويه عن ربه. So the beginning of the hadith has this extra wording that specifies that this hadith, the meaning is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, versus other hadith that can be from his own ijtihad, and he could be then mistaken in it, or it could be from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But when he says قال الله تعالى, or when the companion says the Prophet ﷺ told us, narrating from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that type of hadith has a special label to it, and it's called a hadith Qudsi. Okay, that's in brevity, inshallah. For some reason, I can't see the chat, so I don't know if anyone can type something and it can somehow appear again to me. I don't know how it appeared for a second and disappeared, so I apologize, and I don't know how to fix the problem, other than leaving the presentation and coming back, which would be really clunky. In the break, I'm going to try to, inshallah, address this technical problem. I might need to have to, so I don't know, see what I need to do. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. If there are no raised hands and I cannot see the chat box, then I don't know why. I don't know why I can't see the chat box. Then I'm just going to continue to where we left off last time, which was, actually, let me go out, which was slide number, page number 24, I believe. Yes, right here. So this was the last thing we discussed together, where the scribes were scribing, writing the Quran on whatever clean material was available. And now we're going to look at what this material may have looked like. Here is a shoulder blade. I'm not sure, honestly, is it for a small animal like a sheep or a larger one like a camel or a cow? But you can see how the spread out of the shoulder blade provides a somewhat reasonable surface for writing. And what's written on the shoulder blade is Qur'an, but this is no way Qur'an that was written at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. The reason I can say that for sure is that it has tashkil. And all the scholars say that there was no tashkil, and most of them say that there were absolutely no dots at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and specifically not in the Quran, the dots. But here is a sample, and I want to have this discussion somewhat interactive and fun. So although we know this is not historical, it might have been written in the last 50 years, someone find a shoulder blade and wanted to write Quran on it, that's perfectly fine. But let's see if we can actually read what's written. Who would like to discuss with me methods of deciphering what's written? I must tell you that to decipher what's written from Qur'anic manuscripts, bones, etc., you need to have a good handle on the Quran in general. Like, have it memorized so that you look at a word and then you start looking at words before it and after it. When it seems familiar, then you fill in the words that are just, you cannot read it otherwise. And then you say, oh, that's what this writing means. So there has to be a starting point. So Brother Ali, very courageously raised his hand. Okay, Brother Ali. So help us out here. When you look at this, what's the word that caught your eye that then gave you confidence to try to figure out what ayah this is? Like start with a word that looks really, was clear to you.
I can't say that any of them are clear. It looks like the first one might be Ar-Rahman, possibly.
That's what I thought. It looked very much like Ar-Rahman. But then I looked at the other words and then I figured out the ayah, and the first word is not Ar-Rahman. Although, yes, the first word does look like Ar-Rahman, but it's not.
Could it be Alif Lam Ra?
That's very smart. But no, because see, all of those questions are very valid. And the way to answer it is by reading the rest. So if that was, let's say, Ar-Rahman, then the next word looks like Min Rabbik. That's how it looks to me. I can see Min Rabbik. And then the last word on the first line looks like Kasiya or something like that.
It looks like Nasiya.
Oh, ooh, okay. So Nasiya is a very unique word. It's only mentioned, to my knowledge, once in the Qur'an. So if it's Nasiya, then it's Nasiyatin Kadhibatin Khati'ah.
Which is in Surah Al-Alaq.
Right, but then the next line would be Nasiyatin Kadhibatin Khati'ah, and there's no way that the next word is Kadhiba and the word after is Khati'ah. So this is not Nasiya. Okay, so this is how this is my thought process of trying to figure out. Okay, how about the middle word, the word on the second line, like right in the middle? That's kind of clear. Can you read that?
Looks like Fa'adhkur.
It looks like Fadhkur.
And then it says Fi after Abd.
Okay, good. Fi Abd. Okay. How about the last line?
وأدخل Jam. It looks like a Jim, possibly a meme, and then Ta or a Ya at the end.
Yeah, okay. So if the first word is wadkhul, and if the last word is Jim and then a Noon, wadkhul Jannati. Does that sound familiar?
Yes, I don't know where it is, but I've heard it.
Right. So a lot of people are now, they're helping us out. They even have the ayah number. Brother Muhammad Ilyas is saying Surah Al-Fajr, verse 28 till the end. Okay, so yes, the last few verses of Surah Al-Fajr. Surah Al-Fajr in most Musahif start on the right, takes up the whole page, and then there are a few lines on the second page right before Surah Al-Balad. And the last few ayahs are فَادْخُلِي فِي عِبَادِي وَادْخُلِي جَنَّتِي. So what goes before that is إِرْجِعِي إِلَى, what I thought was min was إِلَى, and what we thought was Ar-Rahman was إِرْجِعِي. إِرْجِعِي إِلَى رَبِّكِ راضية. So what we thought was ناصية is راضية مرضية. فَادْخُلِي فِي عِبَادِي وَادْخُلِي جَنَّتِي. But now I think you share with me the difficulty in trying to read from a script unless you actually have so many skills. First of all, have the Quran originally memorized and know where to search for these words, and have a good handle on the letter representations of the time, because letters over time don't look like they look typed up or in WhatsApp or even by hand when we learn in school. Thank you so much, Brother Amin, for the help. Thank you, everyone who helped in the chat box. Yes, I'm very happy that the chat box is now showing up. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Okay, so again, I want to reiterate that this is by no way, it's not old, because it has tashkil and dots. I see, Brother Amin, you said, why do the dots differ between the qira'at? Inshallah, we'll get to that. Inshallah, as we move along, this question and similar questions will be addressed. Okay, so this is one sample. I wanted it to be a sample of writing on a shoulder blade bone. That's all. And it happened to be Quran. Okay,